Welcome to the Top of the Morning Show with the girl Titi from the D. I want to thank you for rising and shining with us this morning. There are several other platforms I am very aware that you could have logged on, but you chose to select the Top of the Morning Show right here. We air Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank you in advance for each and every time you choose to log on and listen to an episode. And I definitely want to thank you for those of you that are sharing our show, the links, our pages. We are grateful. This morning, we're going to talk about the impact of entrepreneurship. If you tapped in for Tap In Tuesday, I have 4 amazing women on my show. They are all entrepreneurs and they all do amazing things. And I kept referring back to your gift will make room for you. And that can't be any truer. When you think about an entrepreneur, we're all different because I'm an entrepreneur, right? We're all motivated. We're motivated by something. We're motivated by seeing something someone else has done, or hearing about an idea that someone had that sparked something in us that said, you know, I thought about that. I remember one of my sister friends. I have a small circle, but I have a good friend that's been my friend for over 20 years. So I consider her a sister friend. And I remember many, many, many years ago when she said, I should make dishwashing liquid with bleach. Now, this is before we start seeing that on the market. We were just talking. She said, I'll always add a cap full of bleach into my dishwashing liquid. I was like, ooh, nah. She's like, it's sterilized and clean. Now, I was like, yeah, okay, nah. Okay, maybe so. And then a few years later, when you know it, you started seeing that dishwashing liquid, not the version of what my sister friend had in mind, but definitely saw that on the market. And I thought to myself, man, you know, how many of us can say we've had amazing ideas, but we don't have the money, we don't have the resources? Often, I think more often than not, we sit around and we have these ideas, we think about these things, and we just either we don't follow through with it, or we bounce the idea off of someone. And how many of y'all, now this is rhetorical, and even if you said it out loud, I wouldn't be able to hear you anyway, right? This is all audio. But how many of you have been, you know, you talked about something with a relative, a friend, bounced an idea off because you really felt encouraged, like, I'm going to start this business and let me see if anybody thinks this is a great idea. And then you say, well, what do you think about this? I was thinking about doing this, that, and the third. And then they say, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. Or someone said, oh, that sounds stupid, or well, that's a waste of time, or that don't make no sense. It's funny how sometimes your fellow entrepreneur, or people who don't even realize they are entrepreneurs, they'll shoot down your dream. And I hate to say it, but sometimes you got to just do things and keep it to yourself, right? Do the work and keep it to yourself. If you are driven by your passion and a vision, do the work and sometimes keep it to yourself. It might just pay off. Pray on it. I'm always say that. Pray on it and keep it to yourself. All right. I'm an entrepreneur and that's what I do. I've prayed, and some things I've done, like when I was preparing for the last photo shoot I just recently done, I really didn't speak about it much. And the way I'm laying things out and releasing things is different. I'm looking to do something different. You know that old saying, when you want something different, you got to do something different. You can't just talk about it. You got to be about it, right? I think when we wake up every morning, we have a vision that's in our heart, right? And we think about our family. We think about our friends. We think about our communities. What can I put into the community that's going to have longevity? We talk often about generational wealth. You know, what is going to bring stability and growth? You know, is my hobby a goal of mine that I'm looking to bring in 90% of my income because we're reinvesting in ourselves, right? There's so many ways we could think about it. But I have to say this. There are so many business challenges that we face. There's so many things and hoops we have to go through that sometimes we just say, you know what, I'm going to just lay this burden down. It becomes a burden. We could be high in our spirit, like, I'm going to really do this. And all it takes is just one negative person, one bad encounter, one situation that didn't go through, and then we feel depleted, we feel defeated. But we have to know that there is fruit waiting to be planted by the seeds that God has given you. It's important. You got to think about all the businesses that we support. They all were entrepreneurs at some point in time, starting out like you, like me. And I'm sure, and that's one of the questions I love to ask my guests, especially my entrepreneurs. How many times did you have to do something until you realize this is it? This is actually what I've been striving for. It's what I want to do before you got it done, right? I can tell you with my podcasting, I know I've shared this before, and you could be a new listener, so you may not know this, but I remember when I started my podcasting show, it was initially called Married Couples Pour. I was only doing podcasts for my married friends and people and strangers because I'm big on marriage. I'm big on love. I love love. I love relationships. I love people that love love. I love people that love relationships. And so when you think about those things, you look at it and say, okay, I could do this. And I just wanted to focus on that, right? Because we don't have enough. I don't feel like we have enough attention towards positive things when it comes to love and things of that nature. But I could be wrong. So I focused on that. And then I realized after talking with people, the people that weren't married was like, dang, I would love to support your show, but I'm not married. So I don't listen because you don't really talk to us or for us. And I felt some kind of way. I was like, okay, listen, I am for the people, right? I'm for the people. I'm not just for married people. But how would you know if if my show was called Married Couples Pour? So I prayed on it, I thought about it. And being a podcaster, I'm like, I'm for the people, I'm for everybody, right? And then I'm involved in the arts and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, well, how can I really get myself in front of people around the globe? And then God just dropped it in my spirit, like, you need to revise your show. If you're for the people, you can't just be like, oh, I'm for married couples. You got to be for everybody, right? So it was just like, okay, well, I got to go through, maybe I'll do 2 shows. And it was like, no, I'm not, I don't want to do 2 shows, right? I didn't want to do 2 shows. So I didn't. I prayed on it. And then I was like, what will I call it? You know what I'm saying? Married Couples Pour was perfect because I felt like we pour into our marriages, we pour into our relationships. And then it was just like, hey, TT. You know, and people would say little things, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm TT from the D. You know, that was my thing when I used to call into radio stations back in the day. And I said, that's it, TT from the D, right? And it just ran. It simply just ran. And so it was just like, okay, that's it. That's what we're going to call it. And that's what it's going to be. And that's how we grew. And then I started hosting events. And then I started doing that as a business. So then I spoke to a brother from another, Mr. and Mother. Shout out to Marcus Divine. I was talking to him about, you know, my initial company, which was TT Consultation Services, and we had some really deep conversation. And he encouraged me. And that's how Cricket Enterprises was birthed. And so it was just like, okay, I started taking things to another level. And so I make it my business. I'm an entrepreneur, but I also hustle. You know, when I say I hustle, like, I love hosting. You know, I host private corporate events. You name it. You know, I'm into production. So I do stage management, artist assistant work. I do all kind of different things, but it's the gift. And I said that when I did my Tap In Tuesday show. I said, your gift will make room for you. If you hold tight and if you believe, I promise you, your gift will make room for you. You have to recognize it, though. You have to recognize your gift, right? And as an entrepreneur, there's so many other things I want to do, but I'm like, I got to do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. And I learned to just be quiet and move. Like, people say, well, I didn't know you did that. Or I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, because everybody ain't for us, right? People will say, oh, I got you. Oh, yeah, I support. And it's like, do you? Do you? And that's rhetorical again. It's like you say it, but do you show it? And a lot of times we don't see that. We don't see that at all. But people say it, right? I want to encourage you, if you are an entrepreneur, to continue to chase your dreams, continue to build, pour into yourself, sharpen the iron that God has given you. If you know an entrepreneur, you're not an entrepreneur, and motivate them, encourage them, support them. That's the biggest thing. We need the support. We need the support like nobody's business. I love the fact that with my podcast, I give the opportunity to people who are entrepreneurs to come forth and say, hey, I'm doing this and this is my business. And they really have the opportunity to talk to people. Like, think about it. How many times have you heard an entrepreneur or about a business or an event by social media or somebody sharing something? You're like, oh, I'm going to check that out. I didn't even know about that. Yeah, we don't know about everything. But when you are unafraid to support others, then you allow people visions and their goals to manifest and dream, right? Like today, I'm in Florida for my anniversary celebration shenanigan kickoff. But one of my very first clients, who also is a friend, her and her partner, they launched their grand official opening for the Waffle Cafe in Detroit on the Avenue of Fashion today. And it's going down today. Noon, I believe they open those doors. They are located on Livernois in Detroit. You do not want to miss that. If you are in the D, you go by and say, I heard about this from TT from the D on her show. And congratulate them, buy a waffle, buy a meal, support them. Not only support them today, support them every day. When you feel like you want a good breakfast or a good brunch, stop by the Waffle Cafe. I promise you, everyday waffling is going to be your thing. And I say that to say we got so many entrepreneurs, and I am looking forward to supporting each and every entrepreneur that I come encounter with in some fashion or form, whether it's sharing a post, whether it's having a conversation, whatever that looks like, whatever is on my heart, whatever is on your heart as an entrepreneur. If I'm able to support, if I'm able to help, and if it makes sense and it's a legitimate business, I will do my part. And I can only hope that you, the listener, will do your part as well. Well, that's all I got for you this morning. I am super excited. I hope that you definitely will tune in tomorrow morning, which is my anniversary. I'm still going to do a show for y'all. It's going to be a beautiful day. Wherever you are in the world, make the best of it. I want you to be safe this weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather that we are being blessed to have. And even if it happens to sprinkle, storm, or something different, enjoy it, because every day above the ground is a beautiful day. I'll see you soon.